So we're here with Joey Carbstrong today, and we're just going to do a little interview. Thank you for joining us today, Joey.
You're welcome.
So my first question is, how long have you been vegan for, and how long have you been involved in activism for?
I've been vegan for 4 years. Okay, now I've been an outspoken vegan the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but street activism maybe the last 3 years.
So when you first went vegan, was it a quick transition for you? Did you find it easy?
It was immediate. It was immediate. But the thing is, I had a seed planted in my mind about 6 or 7 months before I made the switch. So that seed was in my mind, and it didn't flourish until the environment was right inside of me, and I've become sober, and then I aligned my actions with my morals, as everyone does.
So how do you view the vegan movement now compared to 4 years ago? Do you think it's grown? Do you think it's changed? What do you think about it now?
If anyone's to say the vegan movement hasn't grown, they're not looking at the evidence. Okay, it's grown exponentially. Even in the last 2 years, it's exploded. Vegan options are becoming mainstream everywhere. Fast food chains are putting vegan options on. They're discovering that there is a demand for vegan products, and that's because there's more vegans, basically. Vegan activism has exploded. We've got Anonymous for the Voiceless, the Save movement worldwide. We've got prominent ethical animal rights activists becoming popular on social media. So ethics and animal rights is becoming popular, which is important for the animals because we're speaking for them at the end of the day. And I've never seen this amount of passionate vegans standing up for what's right.
Great. So you kind of already answered it, but just again, why do you think it's so important for people to take part in activism?
Why do I think it's so important? Well, the same reason it's important for people to speak up if they see women being abused or children being abused or murder happening or some type of injustice, dogs being cruelly treated. It's exactly the same thing. Farm animals should not be looked at any differently. It's a form of injustice. Animals are all have moral value, and if we were to, look after some members of society and completely exclude others, then it's just pure hypocrisy. We should be looking at all beings with the same amount of respect. So if we don't stand up for all animals, there's a quote that says, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." So if we allow slavery in one sort of aspect of society, and we're saying it's immoral in other aspects of society, we've created a massive double standard there. So we need to be consistent across the board with who we're standing up for. So if you're vegan and you know about what's going on and you're not standing up, you're saying that you're okay with that happening. Okay, so we need to speak up in whatever way we can.
Yeah. So what sort of things can people do? What advice would you give to those that are thinking or wanting to start advocating for animals?
Well, first thing I would do is I've got a video online called Fearless Activism. Okay, now look up Fearless Activism by Joey Carbstrong. Watch that. It's got all my tips in there. But you need to work out what you're good at. Okay, now not everyone is good at the same thing. Okay, so not everyone's good at public speaking or outreach or, stopping slaughterhouse trucks, or not everyone's a good vegan chef. So you find out what your skills are, organising, whether it's hairdressing, whatever it is. Utilise the skills you possess within the animal rights movement. So cruelty-free products at your salon, whatever it is, okay? And that's how you become an effective activist. You're going to be more effective by utilising the skills that you already possess in the movement than trying to be someone that you're not.
Great. So you're a full-time activist. Does it take its toll on you? Do you take in a lot of the suffering that you see? And if so, how do you handle that?
I'm just taking it as it comes right now, and yes, being a full-time activist does take its toll on you, but I always have something called perspective. So whenever I'm feeling a bit down, okay, I think about what the animals are going through, and it doesn't seem as bad, and that's what we all need to do. We need to put our emotions aside sometimes and just go for it. No matter what struggles we face, it's nothing like being on a slaughterhouse truck and being driven to your own murder. So that there fuels my fire and keeps me humble, keeps me in perspective. But it's a tough road. It's an emotional ride. It's physically, mentally exhausting, but there's a fire that's burning inside of me, and that's what keeps me going.
What would you say to people that are maybe struggling with the fact that they have family and friends that aren't vegan, the fact that their friends don't take it seriously or make fun of something that people find so upsetting?
What I would do in that situation is I would join your local activist group like Anonymous for the Voiceless and do some outreach, okay? And when you do outreach with people who actually want to hear it, okay, it builds your confidence, okay? You get very confident in speaking to people about it. And if you go bear witness with the Save movement, okay, you see what animals are going through on them trucks, it reinforces your beliefs on what's going on with animals. So no matter what anyone says, it cannot override that. And, you know, family and friends, they're less likely to listen to you. And they don't know everything. Your family and friends don't know everything. You've just found out something they don't know. And the best thing you can do is politely try to educate them. Use a Socratic style of questioning, so asking them important questions and, you know, leaving information for them, directing them to documentaries. If that doesn't work, then leave them and move on to people who are wanting to hear the message, because you're not going to be a sustainable activist if you're banging your head against the wall trying to convince your father who doesn't want to hear it, okay? But you could have used all that strength, energy and passion on about 20 people at Anonymous for the Voiceless who want to hear the message, who would go vegan, okay? So don't distress yourself like that. And I've got a really good video on my channel called Dealing with Friends and Family, how to deal with friends and family. Watch out, there's got some tips in there, but yeah, don't waste too much of your strength and energy on people who don't want to hear it.
What do you think the most effective approach is when talking with people who don't eat animals? Do you have any strategies that help to keep you calm when you're maybe having a frustrating conversation with someone?
Okay, the most effective approach is asking them questions. Okay, that's what I found works the best. It's the least intrusive way of educating someone. Sometimes when you're pumping information down someone's throat, they can switch off really easily. But when you ask them a question, it gets them to engage in their mind, and then they can answer it. And based on their response, you respond with a fitting question, okay? And you lead them through their contradictions to hopefully the vegan conclusion. That is the most effective way I've found, okay? And that also diffuses arguments, okay? Because it gets people to stop, wait and answer, okay? And the way that the best way to deal with an emotion that comes up while you're debating is to let the emotion pass. So you might have an angry response by someone saying something insensitive to you, and there's a difference between responding and reacting. So if you react to your emotion immediately, you're probably going to say something silly, you're going to let emotion run the conversation, it's going to turn into aggression. Aggression is anger in action, and we don't want that. We want to let the anger pass and then respond with a question, okay? And that's the best way to diffuse situations. If you see them getting a little bit too aggro, you bring it down. You be the one who quietens down and brings it down a notch. And you really got to feel your way through the conversation.
So to any people that may be watching today that eat animals and maybe think that, you know, with what you said, that may be pushing your own views on them, they may find that it's a whole personal choice situation. What would you have to say to them viewers today? Personal choice situation? Pushing views on them. Well, it's the same type of personal choice like it is your personal choice to abuse a small child or to, you know, be cruel towards a dog. Yeah, that is a personal choice. Being cruel to a dog is a choice. But the word personal in that, I don't agree with, because when you abuse someone else, okay, when there's a victim involved, it's never personal. There's always another party, okay? So it is a choice, but it's not a personal choice, and it's an immoral choice. So we live in a society that we have a choice. We have a choice between a vegan burger, or we have a choice between a burger with a suffered dairy slave in there, piece of her body, she suffered her whole life. Her life was taken against her will. That's inside of that burger. Now, I could show you a vegan burger that tastes not much different, and you can either choose to fund slavery and murder and abuse, or you can choose to fund an ethical industry. It's as simple as reaching, you know, for soy milk in the supermarket. That's the choice we have. That's the choice we have. Now, as for pushing views on people, okay, now, if there's a group of people committing an immoral act, whatever that immoral act is, whether it's rape, murder, whether they're thieving off good people, okay, would you have the same position if I was pushing my views of morality onto these people? No, the public would stand beside me. If people in Yulin, China are chopping dogs' paws off and boiling them alive, okay, and we come there with signs and said, hey, these dogs have moral value, okay, why are you abusing them and putting them in these, you know, horrible situations for a sandwich, for like a dog stir fry? People would be on my side, and they would never say to me, hey, stop pushing your views on these dog murderers. They wouldn't. So
why is it any different for farmed animals? Okay, it's because they're speciesist in their mind. They discriminate between species. Dogs and cats matter. Okay, cows, chickens, pigs, fish and lambs don't matter to them. So then they're not even considered victims by society. Okay, so if you start standing up for them, all of a sudden you're pushing your views and opinions on people. Hey, I can make my own choices. Oh no, that's my personal choice to abuse these animals that don't matter. They're products in people's eyes. They're objects in people's eyes. And to them, it's a choice like it is to buy a Samsung or an iPhone. That's the little arbitrary choice in their mind. But really, it's the difference between murder and freedom. Okay, enslavement and peace. That is the difference.
Thank you so much, Joey.
Okay.